Welcome everyone to this auspicious pop-up Nourish Your Soul show. I am Savante, and why I'm popping up is because we have the amazing Janet Namaste popping into town here in Florida. Welcome, Janet. It's so
Thank
exciting to have you here. We
thank
said
you.
we said we'd have an interview with you, but like we're talking about serendipity and spontaneity all in one fell swoop. So here we are on this wonderful conversation today to share Janet. And if you don't know who she is, I just encourage you to go to janetnamaste.com because she's such an incredible, gifted human being from the heart. She's a celebrity intuitive healer. She is so gifted in so many different aspects. But if I had to sum it up, she's someone you'd want in your corner to help you get to any other side that you're going to. And she does it with such love and grace and full of wonderful enlightened tricks in the toolbox that she's been blessed with. So that is an easier way of saying that than reading a typical bio. How's that? And I'm so glad we're friends and we've had the opportunity to work together and we'll be working together in the future. And we welcome her back to Florida. Yay, Janet. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Lainey. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for that beautiful intro. You really, that really, I felt it in my heart. Truly, that was beautiful, beautiful words. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, love. I've had the opportunity to see you in action, see bring a room to a major shift and transformation a few years back. I don't remember the event. I just remember it being so impactful. It was actually prior to the pandemic.
Yes.
So we need some Janet Namaste here in Florida. So share with us, and you can share a little bit about what is happening. You're going to be here in a few different parts, and that will give people just a glimpse of all the amazingness yet to come. And if you are free in these few days coming up here, I highly recommend you spend time live with Janet. She's really wonderful. All right, what do we have going on?
So yeah, there's a little piece of my heart in Florida for sure. There's you know, when you do the astrocartography, is that what it's called?
Oh, yes.
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 And all of the astrologers that have ever read my chart, they all said something about South Florida that is like calling you. That's like where the root is, where the foundation is. And that's how I feel. So back when we met, I think it was 2019 or 2020, was right before the pandemic. It's interesting how that's the barometer of the before and after,
It
you know,
really is. Well,
right?
I'm thinking it might be 20 because I had the Food Healing Oracle decks, so I
Yes,
now know if I can date it because that's when our first deck came out. And so it was
exactly.
2020. And you know what? Before we mention any further, if people are wondering what astrocartography is, I would, because it's a big subject that people would want to know about, but in a nutshell, it's really like an energetic match to your blueprint and looking at the ley lines and grid lines and everywhere where it is a match with you vibrational. Is that how I would explain it? How would you explain it?
Yeah, that's actually a perfect explanation.
Okay.
Perfect explanation. Like we have a divine blueprint, right? We have an astrology blueprint. We have a numerological blueprint. We
Yes.
are we are multifaceted, beautiful spiritual beings having this human experience, and different areas in the world bring out different sparks of our light. Some places are more dense than others. Like here, I'm in New York, and the energy is dense here. Absolutely. This is not the most conducive, gentle way to a place to raise children that, especially that are empaths as well. And
Hmm. The
and
next generations.
yes, the ones that are they're born like these next generation children that are born now, they are wired differently. And there's certain areas in the world that are more conducive for the highly sensitive person, or for the empath, or for those that are more connected to spiritual nutrition, of food, nutrition, mental health, all those kind of things. And Florida for me has always been and will always be a place where the moment I land,
You
I could
feel it.
exhale. I feel it. My heart opens. I exhale. I feel comforted, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Well, and that's where you can best thrive is when you find a place that checks all the boxes, speaks to you emotionally, mentally,
Mhm.
physically, spiritually. And I encourage everyone to consider those energetics and how important it is to thrive, to awaken. And here you're teaching, and I know you're going to talk about it here shortly about how to awaken and that those intuitive senses and beyond, those are all play a part of it because being a multi-sensory and multi um, spiritual being on all levels, all of these things matter
They
and
do.
we can't negate any of them. And so having the guidance with someone like you, I think is so important. So it's exciting that you've chosen to come here and teach your teachings. So tell us a little bit about the three different. You're on tour, my lady.
I'm on tour, and selfishly, I'm on tour at the place where it's very healing to me.
I
so
love it.
so that's what we have to do, right? To keep the balance and the harmony up. So I am doing 3 events. I have the privilege and the honor to come down for a beautiful visit, and one event is called Beyond the Five Senses. It's awakening your intuitive superpower. So each and every single one of us, we all have an intuitive gift that is inborn, it's innate. But sometimes we are so dialed into the everyday tasks and the responsibilities that we lose sight of even feeling or intuiting of of connecting to the senses that is inside of us. Everything is
Mm,
an autopilot, and we are also, it's this holograph type of, like, hologramic, not hologramic, holographic beings as well. We live in a field, a dimensional field as well, that has energy associated with it. Mother Earth, which Gaia is, a living entity. We
oh
have to
yes.
respect it. We
I
have
was
to
just telling
respect
you about this
her.
5 element class
Yes.
going deep into the mother's essence, all parts to her, all
It,
facets.
exactly. And in your neck of Southwest Florida, you guys were really, like, you had the wrath of a horrific hurricane that really displaced so many families. And this is a wake-up call for us to be kind to one another. And maybe there's somebody there in Southwest Florida, Southeast Florida, anywhere in the world, and maybe they feel a sense of depression or doubt, or even sadness of the loss that they've experienced. Now, is it them per se that they haven't integrated the emotion, or is it the fields that they are feeling? So what I really wanted to do, it really, like, everything I do is heart-based centered work. I dedicated my life to awakening and to helping raise the consciousness one soul at a time. And what I really would like to do is to be able to teach self reliant methods of awakening and uncovering the hidden gift that one person has, the tools that they have inside their hearts, their soul's toolbox, and be discerning of whether an emotion is outside of them or belongs to them, and how they can not predict the future. It's not about prediction. It's not about a psychic, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's about being in the moment and really expanding on those skills so you can help balance yourself with mindfulness, meditation, journaling. I'll be teaching so many techniques, but it's going to be personalized to that person in the audience. Even though it could be
Beautiful.
100 people, it'll be personal.
Well, I think you nailed everything you said. I really resonate with, but particularly the word mindfulness, because if we had not been mindful of the planet, if we not been mindful of our own inner orbit of existence, Mother Nature has a really um, strong way of getting your attention, as we've noticed, not just here, but in Maui and other places.
Yes.
We've had some real doozies lately, and it is a time to practice mindfulness, starting with ourselves, and then kindness, mindfulness and kindness within ourselves and to others. And if we don't know how to do it, uh, I encourage people to, if you're in this area, to spend some time with you and to find those techniques, because as you mentioned, you'll probably be doing offering many techniques, but what might
Yes.
work for one may not work for others. Some people are auditory, some people are visual. Bringing in those senses. I mean, we talk about the clairs a lot. I saw on your website you're many of the clairs, right? We're talking about clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance. There's a lot of clairs.
Yes.
But when you have someone like me, you, who can bring in a lot of the different clairs, people might not even know they have them. And to even just
Exactly.
activate that, Janet, is a gift for them to
And
experience and then to expand upon.
And that's exactly what I will be teaching is specific methods for that soul's signature that will help them develop that inner trust.
Mm,
So they, and that guidance that they're receiving. So they don't need to question, is this logic? Is this or is it coming from source, or is this my logic? So they'll be able to have 100% certainty when they're being guided in the path. Because there's this word now, especially that we're in Virgo season, and Virgos,
yes.
I love my Virgos. Both my daughter and son are Virgos, but there's this the left doors, the shadow aspect of it is the self-criticism because of wanting things to be perfect, that sometimes when you're wanting things and desiring it to be perfect, you lose sight. Like what do they say? You don't see the forest for the trees, or but
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's really it, because you're so fixated on one thing, and then the criticism inside of you, it ends up being a roadblock, and you're not following the path of your intuitive being, of your intuitive guidance. We have an inner soul's GPS, and that is the goal of that particular workshop that I'm going to be doing in Weston and in Fort Myers, is really of helping you awaken that and to trust your own soul's GPS. It will never ever steer you wrong, and you don't have to control everything at all.
I, I, I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm just gonna say you heard it here, but I do see a future workshop in the future down the road of you and I. When you talk about your soul's inner GPS, in my mind, it was like, well, that's what I teach, is having them understand the soul's GPS about what to put in the body, how to
Exactly.
feed, not only feed you with the physical food, but feeding those thoughts, feeding the soul. And of course, we're collaborating with several of our authors
Yes.
next year on a book called High Vibrational Eating, which I'm so looking forward to. But I could really see them having you open them up into a place where we realize that you can do all these things, but it also matters how we're feeding this temple, this body that's housing the soul that is about to embark on this great journey that you're opening up them up to. Just saying, I'm throwing my little food
Well,
sense in
well,
there.
that's I love it, because yeah, you're planting. It's not even planting a seed. The seed was already planted.
Yeah.
We're just uncovering it. It's true, because we are vibrational beings, and we have our own soul signature. So the foods that we eat have a certain vibration associated with it,
Yeah.
and depending on certain emotional element or mental element or physical element, food is the main healer. We don't need to go to
Main healer.
medicinal. That is the medicine for us. The medicine for us is great healthy food that is for your body's like disposition, fresh air, being out in nature, and good filtered water, and laughter. Lots of laughter.
Lots of laughter. I've been really,
Yes.
really
Yes.
talking about lately about the blue zones in the world and how people are living to be centenarians. And laughter is way up there in the list of
Yes.
how they are doing it. So I'm sure there's a lot of laughter to be had because we need to cry, we need to laugh off the tears, we need to do it all. And oh my God, I wish I could be at some of these events. I think you're in for a treat. Tell people where, when, how, so we get to that. And
Absolutely.
then before we close, we're not done here yet, but I do actually want to go back if I can and give people a little bit of the background of how you came into this. You know, were you born into this? Did you develop this? There's something that would absolutely just was that a pivotal moment that just switched the light on. We all have one of the aboves. So whether you want to answer that now or after you share a little bit about where people can find you at these three events, up to you.
All right, I'll share. I'll follow. I'll segue into that. I'll
Okay.
follow your lead. So I was born with these gifts. I have since a little girl. I was able to see, hear, and feel spirit, and I was able to decipher the language of the soul. And I spoke six languages. English was actually my sixth language before the age of 5. So I was an excellent, very trained translator, and what I realized is I couldn't discern or whether or not why people what's in their hearts when they were starting to speak, why it wasn't synonymous. So I started doubting of what is real and what's not real. And that was the first like encounter with the untruth, with the lies. So I wondered, why are people covering their truth? Why is it? Why are we not shining our light bright? So throughout my life, my parents took me to different doctors as a young child. I was a child of immigrants, and I was able to see the doctor's auras and speak about like deceased relatives. And that's when they said to my parents, "She's a wonder kid," but wonder kid, the way they said it, and to that I am a psychic intuitive healer. And I started even doing healing at a very young age. I was able to see on a person's body. My father was the first healee, where he had something going on with his liver at the time. It was actually some sort of food poisoning. And at
Wow.
a very young age, I knew exactly where to put my hand on that. And then later on, at age 11, I was also diagnosed with something that I brought on, because there's a power of the word as well. And I learned at a very young age of connecting with spirit, of how to, and I knew, my blueprint knew that it wasn't me that was getting quote unquote sick. It was the body. And I did it for selfish, I really did. I did it for selfish reasons. I wanted my parents' attention, and it was a form of emotional blackmail for them to spend more time with
Wow.
me. And I said, wow, if I could actually manifest sickness just for this, I can manifest anything in life, anything, health, but whatever, health, happiness, love, abundance, but it's really of what your highest potential is as your soul. So going through that, I realized that I could never be untrue to who I am. And later on in life, I became a hypnotherapist. I met Dr. Brian Weiss at age of 24. And when my first child was born, she was born blind. I was 28 years old. And that's when I left the corporate world, and I did with Eastern and Western. This child was brought back from a prior life to me as a gift for me to speak my truth, to emanate my truth, and not live by. Um, it's almost like the people pleasing that I saw as a young child, or people hiding themselves. So that blindness of that moment in time allowed me to see my truth. And that was the path of awakening and the path of my destiny. Even though I have a degree in education and computer science, this is my passion, my dharma is to help those souls that are a vibrational match, to help them see their light and go into their doors of their destiny. That's the way that's the abridged. But
Well, you're right. This was the perfect segue because now people say, and now this is how she's doing it, is bringing it live. Besides the live events, you hold workshops and online. I mean, there's lots of ways to spend time with you, but there's nothing like being live. And I'm so glad we're all at a place where we can do that now, is be with the people so they can walk into the room and feel community and feel connection.
they feel exactly, and love is an energy. So even though that it's on the internet, so I have a Soul Star membership, which is I'm on there twice a month. I'm doing light language healing. I'm doing channelings there, all different kinds of readings. I have specialized guests and healers that are on there. You're going to be a guest on that as well.
Looking forward to it.
We have a beautiful community from all over the world. So that's one way. And then, of course, I do workshops online. And the Destiny program is something that I only take 5 clients per year. And that is an extensive study with me that we do healings and past life regression work and quantum healings. And that's, so there's all different methods of connection. But the live workshops that I'm coming to Florida, I'm doing not only these events Saturday in Weston about awakening your intuitive superpower. On Sunday, I'll be in Miami. I'll be at Modern Om, and that I will be doing a past life. I'll be leading a past life regression and a progression. So
Wow. Nice.
that's going to be really, really, really cool. And then on the 12th, I have the great honor of being on your side of Florida in Fort Myers at the Collaboratory, which will be at 5:30 to 7:30 at the Collaboratory in Fort Myers. And Kristen Collins is hosting that event.
Shouting you out there, Kristen. Wonderful. That sounds amazing. Well, since you're in 3 different places, the best way to go to janetnamaste.com to get all the goods on how they follow you to all three or find which one resonates or is near you in those different areas. Those are all great locations. All right. Well, that sounds terrific. Interestingly, I was talking to you off air about anything going on, special offers, and it was just so fortuitous that you would mention Ho'onopono. And I just wanted to mention, just again, as we're dating pre-pandemic, but right when the pandemic hit, I had produced we had a series of meditation albums, Gulf Coast Meditations, doing very, very well, but we came out one right at the pandemic, so the timing was nuts. But anyways, it was about children, tweens, and teens, and you
Mhm.
happened to be in town, and it made perfect sense. So tell them a little bit about what it is, and then maybe how they can receive of the gift.
Absolutely. So they can actually just go on my Instagram on janet.namaste and just hit the link on the Instagram page. And right there, you can download the free meditation of Ho'onopono. And it is it's a Hawaiian prayer. It's a beautiful Hawaiian prayer of the ultimate forgiveness, because forgiveness doesn't attest or, condone someone's behavior. Forgiveness is for yourself, that you release and you expand your container for love to come in. Let other people's karma be their karma. You must lead through compassion and kindness, and it starts within. So that is my offering for everyone. Go on that on Instagram. And by the way, for the events in Florida, they could go on janetnamaste.com/events. So let's lead them right on to that page to sign up.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Janet, I know this is the first of many other times we will be having these wonderful visits. And I wish you safe travels here. And I wish everyone the opportunity to go see Janet in person. And thank you for being here on the Nurture Soul pop-up show.
you so much, Lainey. Thank you.
All right. Much love. Bye, everyone. Many
Bye,
blessings.
everyone. Namaste.